Okay, so what I'm going to show you today is how to make a quiz and then also how to use it as a test function if you want to do that during this distance learning period or even following this period of online learning. So to start with, if I want to find a quiz, say on weight training, type in weight training, search for the quiz, and then loads of quizzes come up for weight training. I can have a look at those, decide I like this one. I can then straight away play that live with my class, sign it as a homework, or I can practice it, and that comes up as flashcards like you'd see in Quizlet if you've used that before. But what I can also do is I can edit this quiz. So I can decide I don't like that question, delete it. I can edit a question. What's quite useful is I can change the time frame that students are given if anybody's got additional time needs, or I just want to give them a shorter or a longer time. The other useful function is I can teleport other quizzes into it. So if I decide actually there's a question I like in this quiz, I can then add those questions into my quiz, or I can simply add my own. So I can add multiple choice questions, or I could add checkbox, fill in the blanks, polls, or open-ended questions, which I will show you how I've used a bit later. It marks all of these for you. However, the open-ended questions you will have to go in and mark yourself, but it's a really useful option to use if you want more opinion-based questions answering, or if you are using it for a topic test function. So for finish the quiz, I can then play it live, etc. What I'm going to show you now, though, is how you could use it as a test function for a class or to play as a live quiz. So create a class for my Year 12 IB students, and they did a quiz earlier. So they did, these is collections that you can have a look at, but they went into a topic 2 test for exercise physiology. So they've already completed that. I can now look at their report. And as you can see on this report screen, I've got all the quizzes that have been completed over the past couple of weeks. And these ones are saying that they are live because the students completed them at the same time in kind of a race format. And gives them a leaderboard. It's really engaging way of doing it with a class to either check knowledge at the start of the lesson, or to recap things at the beginning of the lesson, or to do mini plenaries at the beginning or end. But the function that I used it for today was to give the Year 12s their end of topic test. Seemed to work really well. We will see when I mark the answers properly later. But what you get out here is how accurate they were overall. This right now, I will need to go in and have a look at, because some of those questions were long answer questions, so it didn't actually mark those for me. However, it did mark the multiple choice questions, which you can see the data here for. Really useful tool is that now I've gone on that questions function, I can now see exactly which multiple choice questions they struggled with and which ones they all know and are happy with. So now next week I can use this to construct my review lesson and see where different students have strengths and weaknesses. I can look at a whole class overview as well. These questions are marked in blue here because they are my open-ended questions. So it's saying 100% at the moment, but I need to go in and check those against the mark scheme. Another useful function is that I can then go in and I can email this to parents, so I can give them their results. If you used Pupil Progress before, it creates a similar profile to that website. A nice thing that you could potentially email to parents if you so wish, but obviously not compulsory. You can give your students flashcards to then practice following the quiz, or I can just simply look at it again. But probably the most useful function is that if I download that data now, so I downloaded it earlier, you get a sheet that looks like this. So all my questions down the left-hand side, correct answers highlighted here, incorrect, and if they attempted the question or not. So all those multiple choice questions have been answered for me, or marked for me, I should say, and I can see where they got questions wrong, where they did well. And then these ones that are marked in blue, I'm going to have to go in and mark myself using the mark scheme. But it's a really nice little tool that I can use to kind of analyse the results and find student strengths and weaknesses, like we said before. Also gives me a leaderboard that I could show the students if I wanted to. But once you finish the quiz, it gives a much more visually pleasing leaderboard that you can show the students. That's how I've used Quizizz recently. There's plenty more different tools that you can use on here. I'm not an expert by any means, but if you've got any questions, please do ask.